Everything I need, as long as I got the ability to breathe, I got everything I need. Embracing Mother Nature with my G's, surrounded by nothing other than trees. More time with the crystals and the beads.
Yo, it's TheGIBBYNATR. Welcome back to another Modern Warfare tips and tricks video. In this one, we're covering headshots and how you can get more of them. Before we get into that, me and It's Lukey are doing a Modern Warfare giveaway. To enter it, all you have to do is follow the link in the description. It will take you to a tweet, and then you'll just have to follow those rules and you'll be entered into the giveaway. Keep your eyes peeled for the winner. We'll be announcing it soon. But yo, let's get straight into this video. This is really helpful. In Modern Warfare, headshots are really cool to get because you can unlock awesome camos as well as actually do better at the game. We've never really had that in Call of Duty before, where actually going for the camos and going for the headshots will actually allow you to do better. So what do I mean by that? Well, the headshot multiplier in Modern Warfare is a bit higher than it normally is in Call of Duty, meaning you can kill people faster with headshots. It just adds another dimension to the game and means that more skilled players can go for headshots and potentially do even better than they already can. I've experienced this myself. I've had many streaks where I'm just going for headshots and I'm absolutely tearing people up. It just means you can win gunfights that you normally wouldn't. It's really cool to do. So this is going to benefit you if you're someone that likes grinding camos and also someone that just wants to be good and win more gunfights. When we are talking about headshots, I like to break it down into four main topics. In order of their importance, I like to go with just general, basic kind of things that you can put into action straight away. So just general tips and tricks. And then the second one is controller settings. The third one is class setups. And then the fourth is game modes. So going straight into the first one in terms of just general tips and tricks that you can do straight away as soon as you get into the game. Let's just start off with the fact that the better your accuracy is, the more likely you are going to be able to get more headshots and get the headshots quickly. So accuracy is something that's extremely important because you're aiming for the smallest portion of the person's body. And obviously to do that, you're going to have to be precise and accurate. So the number one tip to improve your accuracy is just practice. There's no way of getting around that. I'd recommend you just go play against bots and you can just practice getting headshots on them again and again and again. Do that for a couple of hours and that should get your shots on point. But other than that, it's just practice. That's probably the longest thing about getting good at Call of Duty, is just getting your accuracy good. But once you can do that, you can start to make things more complicated and start purposely aiming for headshots and you'll get so many. But yeah, so once you've got your accuracy to the point where you can trust it, what I want you to do is to walk around with your crosshairs centered at the point where people's heads are. So what do I mean by that? I mean walking around with your crosshairs at the height of people's heads, so that you can, as soon as you see someone, you can just zoom in and you'll snap straight on their head and you'll get so many headshots. So in Modern Warfare, it's there's quite a lot of flat parts of the maps. So for example, if you're going through corridors, people are going to be at the same height as you. So if you aim at around head height, the chances are as soon as you see someone and you zoom in, you're going to be aiming straight on their head, which is wicked. So as well as doing that, what you can also do is when you're pre-aiming corners or you're just pre-aiming lines of sight, you can pre-aim at head height. And as soon as people run into your sights, you'll just ping them with the headshots and they'll pretty much die instantly. That's how powerful headshots are in this game. And if you're using a gun with really high recoil, what you can do is aim at people's chests and allow for the kick to raise up and then actually line up with their heads. And that's going to help you get more headshots as well. The next tip in terms of just general tips is if you see people that can't see you, so if they're looking away from you or they're just not paying attention or if they're not even playing the game, then don't just react and spontaneously just kill them straight away. I want you to slow it down and think for a second, because that's a free headshot. If someone's not looking at you, take the time to purposefully aim for their head and you'll just rack up the headshots, especially if you've got people that are just away from their controllers, just in the back of the map doing nothing. Make sure you take the time to get the headshots, because that is just a free headshot and you don't want to be wasting them. So definitely think about that. Just don't be a reactive player. Constantly think, can I get a headshot out of this? The next tip is to burst fire. Now in this game, if you're playing ground war, there's a really long lines of sight. So if you're just someone that holds down the trigger, getting headshots is going to be difficult for you. However, burst firing, where you just shoot a couple bullets, allow your weapon to recenter and the recoil to recover, and then shoot another couple bullets, you're going to be way more consistent at getting headshots, because you're going to be able to comprehend where you've just hit someone, and if you need to aim back down. Because if you're just spraying, the chance of you getting a headshot at long range is just really slim. But if you're burst firing, you can tell how many times you've hit them in the head and how many times more you need to hit them. So it's really helpful. Definitely give that a try. But they're my basic tips for getting more headshots. Moving on to the other area, so controller settings. This is the second most important aspect of getting headshots. So I'd recommend you turn controller vibrations off. This is going to stop your controller from shaking around. So when your right thumb is aiming at people, it's going to be solid and it's not going to be shaking all over the place. Because when that happens, it's going to throw your accuracy off. It may only be minuscule, but in Call of Duty, it's those tiny little movements that really do determine whether you're going to win the gunfight or not. So especially when you're aiming for the smallest part of the enemy's body, you don't want that bit of inconsistency that's going to throw you off. So just turn vibrations off, and I guarantee you within the next 10 games you're going to start getting more kills and more headshots. The next thing to focus on is your sensitivity. Don't go out there using a really fast sensitivity, because that's just going to throw your accuracy off. You're not going to be able to be accurate with that. You're not going to be precise, because little movements are going to cause you to do 360s and you're not going to be able to stay on target with that. However, if you bring your sensitivity down a bit, you're going to be able to you're just going to be way more precise. You're going to be able to do bigger movements with your sticks and do smaller movements on your screen, which just means you will be more precise. Just trust me on that, give it a shot, and I guarantee you'll get more headshots. And then the next thing is something that you can try, and it does really work. It's just a sneaky little trick. So if you're not very good at purposefully aiming for people's heads, well, you can use this little tip and it will definitely boost up your headshot. So if you change your stick layout to stick and move, it's going to allow you to jump with your right stick. So when you press your right stick, instead of meleeing, you're going to jump. And what that means is that if you're in a gunfight and you're shooting someone in the chest, if you time your jump perfectly, it'll mean that you actually clip them in the head with your last few bullets. And if you can time that jump perfectly in every gunfight, you can stack yourself up a lot of headshots. Give it a shot, it really does work. And it's also really helpful because there's like the enemies, if they're aiming at you and shooting you and you jump, you're minimizing the chance of them headshotting you. So it's definitely a good tip at staying alive as well. So that's it for the controller settings. That's all you need to do for that. Moving on to your class setups. Now you can break this down into lots of different sections. So starting off with the attachments, I find that the best attachments go in order like this. So my favorite one to start is the stippled grip, which is the same as quick draw in the past Call of Duties. That's going to allow you to aim before everyone else, aim down your sights. And so if you're aiming before people, that gives you that extra bit of time in which you can actually change your aim and reposition it to their head, which is really helpful. And then my next favorite is extended mags, and you're not a superhuman, so that means that you are going to miss bullets. When you're aiming at the smallest target, which is the head, you're going to miss relatively quite a few bullets. So having those extra bullets in your mag is going to allow you to stay alive for longer and get those extra headshots, which is really helpful. My next favorite attachment is silencer. It's going to keep you off the minimap and make you quieter. So those people sound horning with their headsets won't be able to hear you. You'll be able to flank them, come up behind them, come to the sides of them and get some nice easy free headshots on them. And then my next couple favorite attachments are optics and the underbarrel grips. Now the underbarrel grips are obviously going to reduce your vertical or horizontal recoil depending on which one you pick. And you would want to pick that, you'd want to make that decision based on which gun you're using. If you're using a gun with a lot of horizontal recoil, put the horizontal grip on, the angled grip, sorry, and then if you have one with a lot of vertical recoil, put the vertical foregrip on. And so you've got to be smart like that. And they will really help because they're just going to allow your gun to be more accurate. So when you're aiming at the head, that's where your bullets are going to go. They're not going to recoil off and shoot above their head, which is really helpful. And then the optics are just helpful for really big maps. A lot of the iron sights in this game can be a bit dodgy, so putting on a reflex sight really will just help with that problem, just help to clear up your sight and allow you to get a much better view on the enemy's heads. Moving on to your perks, I think the 3 best perks for your class setups for headshots are Battle Hardened, which is going to make you immune to stun grenades and flashbangs, and then EOD, which is going to make you immune to explosives and make you take less damage from explosives. That's really helpful because if you're flanking people and they've got loads of claymores and bouncing betties and whatever, then that's really going to help you out because you're not going to die and miss out on the headshots on them. So that's probably the best perk out of these. And then Restock. Restock is going to allow you to actually regenerate your concussions and flashbangs every 30 seconds, meaning that you can spam these and literally get free kills on people, because when you concuss someone, their screen just completely cuts out and they can't move. So you can easily just line up a headshot on people once you've concussed them, which brings me on to which is the best equipment to use. Definitely your stuns and flashbangs, because you can just clear a room out, chuck a stun in a room, and then you've got a nice like 3+ headshots in that room, especially if you're playing a mode like Headquarters. So definitely use Restock and pair it with a nice tactical like a stun or a flashbang. And then let's move on to the field upgrades. So I think the best field upgrades are Dead Silence, because Dead Silence will make you extra stealthy, allowing you to flank people without being heard and get those free easy headshots. And then you've got Tactical Insertion. This one's a really good one for headshots, since you'll actually be able to, for example, if you were playing Ground War on Cast River Quarry, you'd actually be able to go to the sea flag where everyone always is, just camping over the bridge, put a tactical insertion down. You can just keep spawning there and get free headshots. Just spawn, flow a flashbang, line up your headshots, and you can easily rack up a good 20 headshots per game doing that method. So definitely give that a try. And then I would also recommend Stopping Power, because that's going to allow you to actually get headshots in fewer bullets, which is always helpful. And then the last thing is your score streaks. Just put non-lethal score streaks on, like UAV and counter UAV, because if you've got your like chopper gunner on and stuff like that, it's just time out of getting headshots. And if you want to get these over and done with for your camos, then just put non-lethals on. That's going to allow you to do it in the most efficient amount of time. Right, so finally, let's move on to the modes that you should be playing. Now, I would recommend playing objective-based game modes, so your domination and your headquarters, just because you'll always find people concentrated in specific areas like the flags in the zones. And that means that you can come up on like 5 people on a flag or 5 people in a headquarters zone and flashbang them and just get free headshots. And this is where flanking is really important. So what flanking is when you go to the edge of the map and you sneak past all of the enemies and just come up behind them and you get a free line of sight on them and kind of catch them off guard, and you can essentially get free headshots on them. So that's a really important tactic to use. And then you can also play like free for all, because a lot of people tend to just run around in that game mode. So if you lock down a specific area, you can come up behind a lot of people and take them out with headshots. But I think Ground War has to be my personal favourite for getting headshots, just because the amount of people you'll see and the fact that you can spawn straight into the action and you can really just focus on the headshots, because there's so many opportunities to actually get them. And a lot of people tend to play the objective in that mode, so you can use the stun and tactical insertion technique and tactic to get loads of headshots. But yeah, so just to give you a bit of an overview, what we've just told you is some little tactics and tips and tricks that will allow you to physically be able to get more headshots. So in terms of getting your accuracy better, and then little tips for centering your screen so that you snap straight onto people's heads as soon as they walk into your screen. And then we've told you the best controller settings, disabling vibration, lowering your sensitivity, and using stick and move to jump for headshots. Then we've told you the best class setups in terms of attachments, perks, score streaks and field upgrades. And then finally, we've told you about the best modes in Call of Duty Modern Warfare to get headshots, and they're the objective based ones. So if you did find this helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video. Also, if you want the best tips and tricks videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and just go and enter the giveaway as well. There's a link in the description where you can do that, and you can get the chance of winning a free copy of Modern Warfare. Also, I'd be really interested to know how many guns you've got gold so far in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm absolutely loving this game, and I can't wait to unlock that top tier camo. It's been the DAMASCUS, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.